All right, everyone. That clickety clack sound means it's time for TV Oblivion, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 8, season 1. And today's date is July 3rd, 2022. And happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. On today's episode, I will do what I've done for the past previous episodes. It's a double thing. Excuse me. I will describe a show from each decade that is no longer syndicated or has been totally forgotten. And it should be a lot of fun. And then I will go through the list after this commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Clear Floor Wax. That's Clear with a K, not with a C. And this commercial aired in the mid-1960s. So sit back, everyone, and enjoy. Thank you.
Just as a pool of water reflects the beauty of this home, now a new kind of floor wax reflects the beauty of your room. It's new formula Clear from Johnson Wax with the shimmering new deep look shine. Yes, Clear, the floor wax that dries clear as glass, never yellows, now brings you the shimmering new deep look shine. New formula Clear. Try it.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Clear Floor Wax. I believe it's not made anymore. This was introduced in the early 1960s and all through the 70s, and then it just disappeared. And there were other floor wax products. One comes to mind is Future. Remember Future? Then there was Mop and Glow and all that, or Janitor and the Drum, all those floor cleaners. So they were fun commercials to watch when I was a kid, when they advertised on TV. So and remember, it was Clear, spelled with a K, not with a C. And it was made by Johnson & Johnson, or Johnson Wax. Okay. All right. The shows I'm going to talk about today are from the late 1940s. Would be the TV game show Cash and Carry. From the 1950s, it's the TV syndicated series or syndicated TV series State Trooper. In the 60s, I will talk about the Green Hornet. In the 1970s, I will talk about the animated TV series Jabberjaw. And the 1980s will be the TV drama, comedy drama, that is, Jack and Mike. From the 1990s would be Savannah, and that's a TV soap opera. And last, in the 2000s, I'll talk about a sitcom that didn't last very long. It was called Crumbs. Okay. And if you're new to this show or have you been listening, please subscribe to this show. I have another podcast called Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Please subscribe as well. On any podcast app that's available, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Breaker, Stitcher. Let's see, there's others. Also, I have a YouTube channel with both podcasts. The first one is Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, and also TV Oblivion. It is on YouTube, so please care to listen, and I appreciate it. And please subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. Also be posted on my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. All right, so here we go. First show I will talk about is the game show Cash and Carry, and this is a very obscure show. No one has ever heard of it. I've read about it a little bit. So I would describe the show, and it's been a lot of fun. The host was Dennis James. He was a famous TV game show host. He hosted a lot of game shows. I can't think of on the top of my head, but he hosted the syndicated nighttime version of The Price is Right in the 70s. I remember that. Bob Barker did the daytime version, and Dennis James did the nighttime version. So let me read about him a little bit. And let's see. So he was in early television, very early indeed, and he hosts many game shows. And let's see, the first one, it was called Beep Steaks. That was his first one. Cash and Carry was the second. And let's see, and then he hosted Chance of a Lifetime and other. He did a lot of commercials, and mostly he did cigarette commercials for Old Gold in the 50s. I remember seeing that. And let's see what else he did. He did Name That Tune and PDQ, People Will Talk, Your First Impression, The Name's the Same. He substituted Monty Hall when he did Let's Make a Deal. He did that. So he was substituting a lot. Also, Truth and Consequences. He did a lot of hosting. So that was good. And he died on June 3rd, 1997. Oh, died. This is his anniversary, which is that's a shame. That's about 25 years ago. And that's a shame. He was a good man. I liked him a lot. Okay, now the program was debuted on June 20th, 1946, and ended July 1st, 1947. Only 1 year. The series was sponsored by Libby Foods and produced by Art Stark, and he was a producer of The Tonight Show that starred Johnny Carson. When he started from the 60s all the way there. He did that for 7 years. And the setting of the show was set in a supermarket with contestants taking cans, which had questions for them to answer off the shelves. There's one picture I found on the internet that does that. And there's the camera, the Dumont camera, which I failed to mention that it aired on the Dumont network, black and white. And the format was Dennis James would ask the questions to the contestants, and the questions were attached to cans of the sponsor's products. Excuse me. With the correct answers were $5, $10, $15. Yeah, it was money back then. And they did stunts. And for that, with a husband and a wife. And the home viewers could call to guess what was hidden under a barrel. They called during the show. I think it was done live, maybe. Excuse me. And so that was the premise. It reminds me of Supermarket Sweep, sort of like that. And the stunts reminds me of Beat the Clock. That's another show I will talk about in a later future episode. Because it ran for a long time, but you don't see it much except on the Game Show Network. And I used to watch that. It was hosted by Bud Collier, who hosted Tell the Truth. As for episodes to exist, none. There are none. They were gone. They were dumped or erased, and there was kinescopes. So there's no, I don't have a theme song or anything, or video. None existed. So that's a shame. So it was one of the earliest game shows that aired in the late 40s. There were a few, but they were on radio as well, and you listen to that. But then some transferred to television. They would transfer over to that. Okay. All right, so that's all for Cash and Carry. Next up, I will talk about State Trooper. And that was a syndicated show. And it was crime drama. It was set in the American West, and it was set in Nevada, around Reno or Carson City, around that area. Actually, they filmed it in California, like they always do. And that starred Rod Cameron. He was Lieutenant Rod Blake. And let's see. First episode aired September 25th, 1956, ended June 25th, 1959. So it ran about 3 seasons. Was black and white, and like I said before, it aired in syndication. And I have the show on DVD. I watched almost all the episodes. I haven't finished it yet, and I liked it. And it was filmed. There wasn't much violence, thank God for that. And its stories. Most of the people that were involved were ranchers that were set in dude ranches and murder mysteries, often with surprise endings. That's kind of fun, like Alfred Hitchcock Presents. And the series pilot, it was titled Killer on a Horseback. That aired on February 56, on 1956, on an anthology series on NBC called Star Stage. I don't know if it's on the DVD. I haven't got to that. Maybe the pilot is there. I doubt it. We'll see. He didn't have much of a supporting cast, maybe um, but the most was someone named Robert Armstrong. I think this is the guy who, yes, he was the one who acted in the 1933 movie King Kong, and he played Sheriff Andy Anderson. He only appeared about 24 episodes, so yeah, that was it. And I like the show very much. So right now I'm going to play the opening theme song of State Trooper, and I like the song. It's very catchy. Okay, so here we go. Okay, everyone, I'm back here. Hope you enjoyed the theme song for State Trooper. This aired in Chicago on WGN TV Channel 9 Saturday nights, I believe. I found an ad of that. I'm sure it was aired in a different night. I'm not sure. So a lot of people don't remember. Rod Cameron starred in other TV syndicated shows. One was called City Detective. I don't know if that's on DVD. Excuse me. Also, Coronado 9, that was set in San Diego. I have it on. It is on DVD. I'll talk about that in a future show. And he did some. He did a lot of movies and television shows. And his real name was Nathan Roderick Cox. He was born since December 7, 1910. He died December 21st, 1983. He was born in Canada, but most of the movies he starred in was westerns, a lot of them like that. And also he did some television later on. TV westerns, of course, and he did that. He he also appeared on The Rocker Files with James Garner. So that's interesting. There was one scandal that involved in his life. In 1960, he divorced his wife and he married her mother. I haven't heard anybody do that. I mean, that's funny. I mean, oh my God, that's something out of a soap opera, which I think they do to this day. And but he had an alcohol problem. He drank, but then he got off the sauce and he recovered. So he did fine. And then he moved to Georgia, I think. Yeah, Gainesville, I think. Yeah, he moved to Gainesville, Georgia, not Florida. And he died of cancer, and he was 73 years old. So I liked the show very much. It was fun watching State Trooper. Maybe I'll rewatch it again. So we'll see. Okay. Next show we got in the 60s, I'm going to talk about the Green Hornet. Oh, great show. Wonderful show. I remember this fondly. I used to watch the reruns on Channel 9. I never saw it when it aired on ABC. So I'll give you a history of this. Okay, and it first aired on ABC on September 9th, 1966, and canceled on March 17th, 1967. And it starred Van Williams as the Green Hornet, Secret Identity. He was Britt Reed, and he was a newspaper publisher, I think. I'm not sure. Or is it book publishing? I think it's newspaper. And Bruce Lee as Kato. And it was created by, it was produced and narrated by William Dozer, the guy who did Batman. So when you watch the Green Hornet, that's him. He introduced. I don't think he spoke during the shows. I think just in the beginning, as far as I remembered. And it was very popular, but it didn't catch on in the ratings. But it looked beautifully set, very colorful, and okay. And Britt Reed was a bachelor, and of course, he was a publisher of the Daily Sentinel newspaper. Excuse me, and Kato was his, his partner. And he was an expert in martial arts. As you can see in the movies, when Bruce Lee started, he was phenomenal. He was wonderful. And they drove a car called the Black Beauty, and it was a custom Imperial car. Gorgeous car. And they battled not like villains, like colorful villains like Batman, just like gangsters or, gangs like that. And the only two people that knew their secret identity is Britt Reed's secretary, Casey Case, and District Attorney Frank P. Scallon. So it wasn't like Batman, because the only one who knew their identities was Alfred the Butler. Okay. And let's see. So right now, I'm going to play the theme song of the Green Hornet, and once it's played, I will explain about the theme song. And there was a radio version of the show, so I'll explain that. And my memories of watching the Green Hornet. So here we go.
Another challenge for the Green Hornet. His aide, Kato, and their rolling arsenal, the Black Beauty. On police records, a wanted criminal, the Green Hornet is really Britt Reed, owner-publisher of the Daily Sentinel. His dual identity known only to his secretary and to the district attorney. And now, to protect the rights and lives of decent citizens, rides the Green Hornet.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for the Green Hornet. That was wonderful. The Green Hornet and Kato appeared on Batman, and they appeared in 3 episodes. The first one was a cameo. When Batman and Robin are climbing on the side of a building with a bat rope, and they were in the window. There was always a celebrity. They open the window and they talk, and it was with the villain King Tut. And the episode was called The Spell of Tut. Also, they were in a 2-part episode on Batman. It was called The Piece of Action and Batman's Satisfaction. I love that episode. And the villain was Colonel Gum. Excuse me, not Glum. And it was played by Roger C. Carmel. He's famous for, I think, Mud from Star Trek. And also he played on The Mothers-in-Law. It's an interesting show. The starred Eve Arden and Kay Ballard. I'm going to talk about that in a future episode. And so it was canceled. It looked wonderful, but I guess it didn't catch on. Maybe they were looking for villains or something. Maybe, I don't know. But the Green Hornet didn't really have like a main villain. Not really. And he was the grandnephew, I think, for the Lone Ranger, I believe. And the theme song was "The Flight of the Bumblebee" that was used on the radio series, and they jazzed it up for the TV show. And it was written by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. Okay. So I remember watching this on Channel 9 when I was a little boy. It aired during the day, and then it aired on, I think, not 32, maybe it did. Channel 32. Yeah, it did probably. And also on Channel 50. Yeah, not Channel 44. Not in Chicago, just Channel 50. So, and then one day I went to the comic book convention in Rosemont. They had a bootleg DVD. It hasn't been released officially, and that's a shame. It should. And this was recorded off a cable channel, but it looked beautiful. It's crystal clear and it's nice, and I love it. So that's good. So I still have that. I love the show. And people still want it on DVD. They really do. They really did. And Van Williams, he was an actor. He's famous for another TV show called Surfside 6. Surfside 6. Ugh. It aired from 1960 to 1962. I'll talk about that show someday. And he did some acting later on, and so he was a wonderful actor. And then Bruce Lee, of course, you know what happened to him. He started in movies, famous for Enter the Dragon, and unfortunately he passed away in 1973, which is a shame. He would have had a great career, wonderful career. And then his son, Brandon Lee, continued, and then he passed away from an unfortunate accident on the set. So that was a good show. Green Hornet is wonderful. Okay. Next up, and we're talking about the 1970s. It is an animated TV series called Jabberjaw. I remember this when this came out. It was hilarious. And the reason it was produced was based on the popularity of the 1975 movie Jaws, which I refuse to see to this day. I saw it when I was 10 years old, and I hated it ever since. It still scares me. And it premiered on ABC from September 11th to December 18th, 1976. Very short. And there was 16 episodes. And Jabberjaw was a amphibious great white shark, and he was a drummer for the Neptunes. It was a rock group with 4 teenagers. They lived under underwater civilization in the year 2076. And they traveled to other underwater cities where it's like Scooby-Doo or the Josie and the Pussycats. They had the format like that. It was the same thing. They stumble upon bad guys and trying to find clues and all that. It was like, and I watched this show. I really did, and it was funny. And Jabberjaw was voiced by Frank Welker, and he did an impersonation of Curly Howard. He did that, all that, and it was funny. And he always says, "I don't get no respect." And then I think it was borrowed from Rodney Dangerfield. I don't know if Rodney Dangerfield watched the show and got it from that. I don't think so. I don't know. And he always got into trouble like that. And the band members were Biff, Shelley, Bubbles, and Clamhead. And the show, it was popular, but it was fun. But people still remember the show. It was funny, And I like when Jabberjaw was walking and he's running. Oh, it's hilarious. So I'm going to play the theme song of Jabberjaw right now, and I'll talk about a little more about it in a moment. So here we go.
Hi there, I'm Jabberjaw.
They call him Jabberjaw.
The most futuristic shark you ever saw. I can walk and talk and look.
He's so sharp, the names he does are
unbelievable. I'm the latest shark you ever saw.
When he brings him in a chair.
Why, they just call him this big deal.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Jabberjaw. Jabber, 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 jabber. I love that. It's cute. This, it only ran for one season, but it continued reruns on ABC for a couple of years and also syndicated. And it is on DVD if you like to order it. I don't have it, but I like to. Maybe I'll buy it. So it's fun. It's one of it was created by Hanna-Barbera, of course. But it caught on because of Jaws, like that. It was the Shark Mania at that time. Okay. All right. Next up, I'll talk about the 1980s. Next show would be Jack and Mike, and here's one that was there and it was gone. Okay. This show premiered September 16th, 1986. Last date aired March 24th, 1987. And aired on ABC. I think I mentioned that. And it starred Shelley Hack and Tom Mason. Shelley Hack is known for Tiffany Wells on Charlie's Angels. She was on there for one season. And she played a newspaper columnist for the fictional Chicago Mirror newspaper. Okay, it was set in Chicago. Tom Mason played Mike, and Shelley Hack's character was Jackie, so she was Jack for short. And he was a restaurant owner, and he owned 2 clubs in Chicago. And they're married, and their careers on it interfered. So it was a yuppie show. That's what it was. Like there was a lot of them. Like, for example, 30-something, moonlighting. It was like that. And so Shelley Hack's character name was Jackie Shea. Tom Mason's character was Mike Brennan. Tom Mason, I think he still acts to this day. And he's guest stars on TV shows. Also in the cast was Jacqueline Brooks and Kevin Dunn. He was in there. And I remember the promos of the show, and I think it aired after Moonlighting. Yeah, I think so. I think it aired that. And didn't catch on very well. And I don't know what happened. So rating-wise, it was a bomb. And I don't think a lot of people remember it. And it hasn't been syndicated since. I don't know if it's on DVD. I doubt it. I don't think so. So I'm going to play the theme song of Jack and Mike, and I'll talk about a little more about Shelley Hack. Okay. So here we go. Alrighty, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Jack and Mike. I'll talk about Shelley Hack for a little bit. She's a very pretty lady, and she was best remembered as Tiffany Wells. And one season of Charlie's Angels, I don't know what happened. Someone told me according to some sources, she only signed up for 1 year. And if she didn't like it, she had the option to leave. There was also rumored that the audience didn't like her and they got rid of her. It wasn't true, really. So she didn't stay. And what's interesting, Farrah Fawcett, when she left in 1977, because of a contract dispute, she was obligated to appear like three more episodes during that time, and she appeared with Shelley Hack on one episode, and with Shelley and Cheryl Ladd that replaced her as her sister. They didn't have much scenes together, so I don't know what was going on. That was weird. Also, Shelley Hack is known for commercials for Charlie by Revlon that's sang by Bobby Short. There's a place, him is Charlie. I like that song. I love that commercial. You can find it on YouTube. You could. And as far as I know, I don't know. I haven't seen her act recently, so maybe she takes an acting part here and there, but she's doing fine. So but that's the show she was in. Jack and Mike, gone. Okay. Next up, I'm going to talk a show from the 1990s. It's Savannah, and it was a soap opera, prime time. And it aired from January 21st, 1996 to February 24th, 1997 on the WB, which is known now as the CW, which is still there. And when it first aired, it was a very popular show at the time, but then it just lost interest, and it only aired for 2 seasons. And the cast was Jamie Luner, Robin Lively, Sharon Sturgis, David Gale, Beth Toussaint, Paul Satterfield, Ray Wise, best known as Leland Palmer from Twin Peaks, George Eads, he's famous for CSI, I think, yeah, and Alexia Robinson. So, other recurring characters as well, and it was set in Savannah, Georgia, and it revolved with 3 female friends. And Jamie Luner's character was named Peyton Richards, and she was the bitch in the show, like Alexis Carrington and Amanda Woodward from Melrose Place. So there was some plots. There were some affairs and crime, and there was a murder and all that, and I don't want to go into detail of that. And I did watch the show a couple times. It was pretty good. I think you can find it on YouTube if you can. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it is. So I don't know if it's on. I think it is on DVD. I think it is. So right now I'm going to play the theme song of Savannah. Okay, so here we go. Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Savannah. It's like I said before, it was one of the earliest successful shows on the WB. The other one was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was but that lasted longer, And what's interesting about actress Jamie Luner, she got hired on Melrose Place, and like the later season, and she played a bitch on that. But I loved her there. She was wonderful, and she butted heads with Heather Locklear. That was fun. I wish they continued that. That was great. And so it's another soap opera that went bye-bye, so that's a shame. But that. Okay. Next up, the last show I'm going to talk about is a sitcom called Crumbs. And that aired from January 12th, 2006 to February 7th, 2006. 1 month. Not even a month. It's like, ugh. And it starred Fred Savage, Jane Curtin, and William Devane, Maggie Lawson, and Eddie McClintock. Excuse me. The show's slogan was "The Normal American Family Turned Upside Down." So the premise of the show was Fred Savage played a screenwriter who's gay, who leaves Hollywood to go back to his hometown and to take care of his mother, who has been released from a mental institution, played by Jane Curtin. And and the reason she was committed because she tried to run over her husband, played by William Devane. And the reason, well, she had a very good reason, because he left her for a younger woman who turned out to be pregnant. And it took place in the family restaurant. Oh boy. This show aired 13 episodes and only aired 5. So their last name was Crumb. So Fred Savage played Mitch Crumb. Jane Curtin played Suzanne Crumb. Eddie McClintock, I can't say his name, Jody Crumb, probably his brother. And William Devane played Billy Crumb. So I watched it once, and that was it. I didn't have time like that. And so I have a theme song of the show, but it's very short. It's like 7 seconds. It's like, boo, boo, boo. That's it. So here's the theme song for the TV series Crumb. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song. It's very brief. It's like, it's over. Before I sign off, I'll talk about the cast of the TV show. Fred Savage, he's best known from Wonder Years. Jane Curtin, Kate and Allie, Saturday Night Live. I love, and Third Rock from the Sun. I love her. She's wonderful. She makes me laugh. Eddie McClintock, you've seen him on TV shows. William Devane, he's famous for his role as Greg Sumner on Knots Landing. Yeah, I like this character. He was a sneaky guy, but very quiet in a way. Well, he got loud when he got mad, but that's okay. So, like I said before, it just aired 5 episodes, and the rest, no. They never aired. You can find the theme song and some clips of the show on YouTube. If you'd like, check it out. Okay. So that'll be all for today. I'll do a recap of what I discussed on this show. I talked about the TV programs from the 40s, Cash and Carry, the 50s, State Trooper, from the 1960s, the Green Hornet, 70s, Jabberjaw, the 80s, Jack and Mike, the 90s, Savannah, and of course the 2000s, Crumbs. I will have another episode soon. That would be episode 9. Well, I'll have to do some research and decide what shows I want to talk about. And like I said in the beginning of the show, please subscribe wherever podcasts are available. It's also on YouTube, on TV Oblivion. Also subscribe on my other podcast, Vanishing Goggle Stories, the podcast. Also subscribe to that on any podcast platform, app, also on the YouTube channel. And I want to mention on Vanishing Island Stories, the podcast, on the episode, I talked about the defunct rides at Marriott's Great America in Gurnee, because the one in Santa Clara, California, is closing at the end of 2023, which is a shame. It's been there since they both opened in 1976, but that one is they're going to be gone. That's horrible. We need amusement parks. We need some fun, especially over there. Okay, so I'm your host, Pika Songs for TV Oblivion, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Everyone have a great day and enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend for the 4th of July. And right now, the ending theme song is I always forget this, and it's the Pick and Pluck song. So enjoy that, and I hope to hear from you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.